So,
All right. Hello. We're live.
I know 10, 15 seconds, so I'm watching it. That way it doesn't cut us off.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brett Keene from God TV Radio, also known as AKA the Boogeyman. Wow. And I'm here with the sexy motherfucker known as the Will Kincaid. Do us a favor real quick. Can you hit up that Led Zeppelin scream for me real quick? One more time. Fuck yeah, man.
Come
He
from
just
the land of
fucking
the ice and snow.
beautiful, beautiful. So here's what we got. I harassed Mr. Will and asked him if we could open up a video where we talk about not only some of the massive accomplishments that Donald Trump has done, but we're also going to be talking about accomplishments that the mainstream media never even talks about. And since people like Ronnie Crotchnuts doesn't even bother to do his research, he'll never be able to actually know about this information because he gets his information from a low sinking fake news network like CNN and all those other motherfuckers who have LGBT letters for their news network names. Okay. So we'll do that. And also we're going to talk about this. Let me see if I can share this on the fucking screen. This would be one of the many, many times that this has happened. Let me see how the fuck do you share shit on this crap? Let me see if I even remember. Yeah, I guess we do Twitter. Here we go. You able to see it on the screen?
It's going there. There it is.
All right, so what you're seeing right here, folks, is a guy who apparently has been bragging constantly about wanting to go out and fucking kill Trump supporters. He has bragged about going out and causing problems. And as you know, there's a lot of liberals. Hell, you could just read Donald Trump's Twitter feed and be able to see the comments from people just like this. I literally have over thousands of screenshots of liberals claiming that they want to assassinate Donald Trump. You've seen it for yourself, haven't you, Will? It sounds like fucking Dubs is over there flying to space on a fucking rocket or something. I don't know what's going on.
But, I gotta go move my car. I'll be right back.
Like a monkey shot into outer space, right, Brett?
Well, dude, if you're gonna go move the car, make sure you bring the screen shit back up at least for us. Fuck. So this guy right here, he ended up fucking harassing a bunch of Trump supporters, and then he ended up getting all physical, and then the Trump supporter decided to work back at him. This guy pulls out a gun and kills an unarmed Trump supporter. And as many of you know, it was less than just a few months ago in Portland where this fucking cocksucker ended up hiding behind a wall waiting for Trump supporters to come up, ran behind the side, and ended up shooting a guy dead right there, right then and now. And that was that. And of course, the police ended up finding the guy, and the guy wouldn't go easy. So the cops ended up having to kill the fucking idiot that originally killed the Trump supporter.
What a wild animal.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dubs, you're a Trump supporter. We were thinking about talking about some of his accomplishments. I was going to also get into the Whitmer governor, mayor fucking kidnapping bullshit. What do you have anything you want to say?
No, I need the lowdown on that. What's the update on that, Brett? What's the up-to-date story?
Well, I tried to show Ronnie Rotten crutches or crotch or whatever you guys call him and shit, the raging anus. I tried to show him that there are videos out there with audio showing that the fuckers involved in wanting to kidnap that governor, Whitmer, were actually Trump haters. And they were also anti-government, which Will actually pointed that out. For those out there who don't know, if a person is an anarchist or they claim to be anti-government, that means that they are not an independent, a Republican, or a Democrat. It means they hate the government and they want to bring it to its knees and destroy it. They want to basically reset society. And those guys that were wanting to kidnap that woman and execute her, they weren't doing it because they supported Joe Biden or Donald Trump. They just simply wanted to kill the bitch and make a statement. Do you understand?
Right.
Yeah,
I dig it. Yeah.
So that's what happened with that. Hopefully, whenever I go to let me see if I'm able to share this. I can't change it without the help of Mr. Will. Hopefully, he'll hurry up and move that fucking car. We'll talk a little bit
Knowing
about
him, he might
huh?
fucking drive it in the wall. Knowing him, he might drive it into the fucking wall.
Oh, great. Terrific. You're
he
on a rocket
might
to
be.
fucking space, and Will doesn't have the ability to change the fucking screen for us.
Uh,
Beautiful.
well, you don't have the keys to the kingdom. You don't have like a wrench or something to fix the settings.
Well, how am I supposed? How the fuck do I do that? I didn't know that StreamYards even had the ability to make other moderators.
Oh, I didn't. I don't know. I'm new to the thing myself, but Will paid for the membership, so isn't there a toolbox or something that he has?
Shit. We should have waited until he was done. You know what? I'll just read off some of these accomplishments. John, are you familiar with Right to Try?
A little bit. They let people choose the medicines that they want to experiment with, even though it's not fully out yet.
Yeah, a while back, celebrities and normal people, anybody out there, if you got sick or you were dying or you were, fucked up or you need to get your legs sawed off along with your cock, as Ronnie's been talked
Right.
to about, you couldn't
Yeah,
go
pretty
to a,
much.
you couldn't go to a normal doctor in the United States of America if the drug wasn't like
Yeah, you had to be shipped off to India or some shit, right?
yeah, and most of the time, by the time you got there and found the fucking voodoo doctor you were looking for, you'd be dead. It'd be over. So what Donald Trump did is he said, "Look, if you are dying, if you're sick, and you sign a fucking waiver, you can get the ability, right to try in the United States. You can try any voodoo medicines and crazy shit you need to do, and that will help."
Now,
So
didn't Trump himself use that medicine from the COVID when he got sick the last week? Didn't he use
I think I heard
experimental
something
medicine?
like that. I think I heard something like that, John. Let me go ahead and do a screen share now that this fucking animal's back, leaving us sitting here on the screen with a guy with a gun on there. Let me see. How the fuck do I change this thing? Let me see how to get this accomplishments up.
Yeah, Will needs to fix his shit over there. Fucking wild
Th-
animal.
This is 2018 Trump administration accomplishments. You got me on the screen?
Yeah.
This is just 2018 alone. Let me just skim through this shit real. This is just look at that's just 2018 motherfuckers. You believe that shit? This is what this man does. All
Does
right, so
do they have
go
a
ahead.
2019?
Yeah, I figured we'd start with some of the
Well,
fucking big.
easy there, Will. We got to start with fucking 18 first. Come on.
Oh, okay,
Know how
okay.
to easy there. You know how to count.
Yeah, I know how to get. Do I know how to count? Yeah, I know how to count. I'm Jewish, of course. I know how to count.
Baruch
Okay, so
Hashem.
here we got it. Everybody knows that in 2018 he actually provided 4 million fucking jobs since election. And as we know, towards around the end of when coronavirus got released by the Democrats, I mean the Chinese, um, he had gotten up to like 7 million, 8 million fucking jobs for people. And that's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's
Why is it good for mankind to have fucking jobs, Will and Dubs? You know how this works. Tell them about it.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of the job creation is happening in the minority community, specifically the black community. Today, Donald Trump, or maybe it was yesterday, addressed Blexit, the group organized by Candace Owens and somebody else, uh, black people leaving the Democratic Party. Um, it was, I think it was on Fox yesterday or something too. But yeah, that was the first thing he did. That was his first address to the public, out in public, since he got the coof, since he got the China virus. China job creation is good. Duh.
Now, Ronnie, when you're watching this video, try not to be drinking while doing it and bang your head off the fucking desk and start punching holes in the wall. Let's try to calm down and handle this as a rational, logical person may try to do. The second thing is more Americans were employed than ever recorded in our history.
I
What did he
mean,
always say at the rallies, Will?
it's the economy, stupid.
Right,
Or,
right. I
yeah,
mean, like the records. Remember the records, the Latinos, the blacks, and so on.
yeah, lowest black unemployment, lowest black youth unemployment, lowest Hispanic unemployment. Yeah, it goes on and on like that.
More than Biden, the Clintons, the Bushes, more than Obama, all put together.
Right. I mean,
All right.
I mean, fucking Obama was billed as like this guy who was gonna do great things for the black community, and he didn't do dick. But I understand. See, this is the thing with Knock is that he doesn't like Bush and he doesn't like Obama. So we're on the same page on that. So it's like there's not a president in his lifetime that he can remember other than what those last maybe three or four, maybe Bill Clinton. I don't know, but of course nobody liked Bill Clinton. He's a fucking rapist,
Yeah,
allegedly. I have to say that for legal reasons.
I hear you there.
Yeah.
We've created more than 400,000 manufacturing jobs since his election. Manufacturing jobs growing at a faster rate in more than 3 decades. Now, manufacturing jobs, what did Obama say that would be required in order to bring back manufacturing jobs?
A magic wand.
Right. So is Trump magical or what? He made it happen.
Well, everybody had said at the time that it's funny. So at the time they said, well, that's Obama's shit working. That's holdovers from the Obama administration. Obama worked for 2 terms to get it done so that employment would get this low. But now we're pretty far into the first term of Trump's presidency. I don't think that, but then they say, China virus is fucking Trump's fault. But, Obama didn't replenish the fucking mask supply. So, or the PPE in general. No fucking ventilators, no nothing.
Let's talk about something that's going to be really, really rough. We'll name off this list real quick, but we're going to name off some personal impacts of what Trump did that would actually help out Ronnie in his life. Now, Ronnie's got family members that are diabetic, right?
That would be correct.
I've got family members, like my wife and my brother actually have diabetes, however you fucking pronounce it. My brother has to use the shot, and my wife also has to use a shot along with medicine and all this. Because of Donald Trump, insulin and the medication used for this kind of things has been brought down. He went after the pharmacies. What do you know about this, Will? You work in the health department.
So you can basically bargain's not the word, but you can. What you can do is you can negotiate with your pharmaceutical industry, your pharmaceutical provider. You can get lower prices at that end. We're fucking able to produce some of this stuff domestically now, so we don't have to, deal with a lot of that.
Yeah, we were depending on China. We were depending on a lot of these countries that are claimed to be sometimes our enemy whenever they feel up to it, who are charging us up the ass.
Yeah,
And Donald
Canada
Trump,
is probably the biggest offender in that department because what they did was they were given basically we were offsetting the cost of prescription medication in Canada by them raking us over the barrel while they gave everyone in Canada a good deal. Same with Mexico, where you could get prescription medications for pennies on the dollar in those countries, but the same medication, the same brand, the same everything was more expensive here than it was there because they were basically screwing us to pay for their healthcare system, which is what you would have to do to have socialized healthcare without taxing people, is you'd have to fuck somebody over. Another country, probably.
a lot of people for the last couple of years have been talking about the empowerment of women, right? They've been talking about how women should have higher jobs and they should be able to have more responsibilities, make more money. What did Donald Trump do? Because of him, he was able to break the record for women being able to make the highest rates in 65 years. And whenever you look at the White House and you see spokesmen and people outside and all that, who does he have mostly working for him?
Female staff members. I think he's hired more female staff members than any president in history, and he's appointed more female judges, etc., as well. So.
Right. So they can't get him on that. That's why there's so many groups out there like Women for Trump. It is what it is. All right. Can you do me a favor? You know quite a bit about the tax cuts and everything like that. Trump said that because of this tax cuts, $2,000 went to your typical average family. If you had more kids, you drop another $4,000 into your bank. How does that personally help out Ronnie in case he's not good with money? I'm going to have the smoke and you just fucking let loose. All right, Will, you're doing great. Be right back.
Cool. So if you were self-employed and if you were going to do YouTube full time, obviously before he got knocked off, no pun intended, by these people that assassinated his YouTube channel over monetization. If Knock was self-employed, say he's funding himself through Streamlabs or donations or whatever, he's making money on t-shirts or Patreon, you could get up to a $2,000 tax credit for being self-employed. It varies from state to state how you could take advantage of that. I am not a tax lawyer, so I have to say that for legal reasons because I'm not supposed to give tax advice. But as I understand it, you can take advantage of that tax credit by basically writing off a portion of your income. So the main thing, like for me and my mom, who's partially self-employed, you just get to keep $2,000 of that income. It's helping small businesses grow, especially right now when we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. We need small businesses to be able to stay afloat. I wish they'd pass some relief, because now that things have started to open, that relief is actually going to work. The first relief bill that they passed was $1,200 for every American making a certain amount of money, although some rich people got them for no fucking reason. I'm not sure why. Probably because they're, fucking over people on the taxes. But they they use the fucking money to keep their ship afloat, more or less. Now that everything's open, we need to inject cash back into the economy. So they're trying to pass that bill now. The fucking Democrats would like to fucking inject all this shit about fucking trees and cow farts and nonsense like that into the package, so that it's mostly nonsense, to give funding to states that failed, like my state, because they didn't know how to handle their own budget. So that's the reason that hasn't fucking passed. But in conjunction with the tax credit for small businesses and self-employed people, $1,200 could go a long way, especially if everyone's getting it. They can go spend it someplace, The fact that Walmart's allowed to be open when a lot of other small businesses are being hampered by their local governments is kind of fucking ridiculous. But that's not Trump, because it's not the federal government, and those restrictions and regulations have been lifted at this point. The fact that you can't go to a church or a synagogue or a mosque without some serious issues from the fucking police is ridiculous. One of the few reasons that I don't really support the police that much. It probably pisses Trump supporters off, but stop enforcing these ridiculous fucking laws on religious people. Probably it's like, oh, but they're gonna give grandma COVID. Well, fucking don't. If you're gonna go see grandma, wear a fucking mask and wash your hands, you filthy animal.
Well, I'm back. I was going to say, I heard a little bit about the police thing. As far as I'm concerned, like with the George Floyd incident, I don't know if a lot of people know this because mainstream media hasn't talked about it, but the man died from COVID as well as he was overdosing on drugs. That's what his autopsy says. As far as that cop, that fucking moron putting his knee on the guy, that was absolutely wrong. And if Black Lives Matter and Antifa and the Three Stooges and whatever fucking group out there, if they wanted to run up to that particular fucking police station and kicked the shit out of that guy, hell, they would have got my vote on that. But burning down people's homes and businesses, especially black businesses, people that have struggled their entire life to get something going for themselves, that's no good. Let's talk a little bit more about personal impact that it has for religious as well as atheists, what Donald Trump has done. And Will, this hasn't been talked about very much, but this is fucking important. Donald Trump and his administration is going after these big tech companies like Google and YouTube and Twitter and all these fucking companies that knock people down. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, I'm Ronnie. I'm a fucking bullshit liberal. I can say whatever the fuck I want and I'll get away with it. No, the liberals had this concept where if you don't fully agree with them and you don't go completely radical left, or you fucking disagree with them once, they'll get rid of your ass. So Ronnie wants to become a popular Aaron Raw atheist YouTuber, but under Biden and liberal administration, Google will be able to get away with getting rid of as many people as they want, and over 2 million accounts on YouTube have been removed, and people have had to go out and look for alternative video sites and social feeds. Go ahead, Will. I know you got a lot to say about this.
Yeah, because the way it works is that Google actually owns the politicians. They're allowed to be basically a monopoly, masquerading as an oligopoly, which I would say probably is, or a duopoly, which is about just as bad. So the problem with that is that they don't give a fuck about YouTubers anymore. Knock was actually just talking about this on his live stream today, that he could get knocked off at any point for mentioning anything that vaguely touches, like criticizing something that, like, say somebody's got fucking a video about how fucking orange juice cures fucking coronavirus, right? And Knock makes a video about that, saying that's fucking stupid. Well, the fact that he mentioned orange juice curing coronavirus, even though he was debunking it, could be something that could get him knocked off. Just like him talking about the fucking Muslims could get him knocked off at any point. Because as we figured out with BitTube going down the other day, Google can get a request from a foreign government to take down somebody's channel or an entire website that somebody owns on request. They'll say, you can't see our shit on our browser, so you'll have to install a whole new fucking browser. Or they'll say you can't have your app on the App Store because it's like a news feed for somebody that you like. Somebody's got their own website, like the Epic Times, for example, or Timcast News, their website. So they could just fucking remove your ass. So it's not the politicians that are even setting the policy. It's Google going to the politicians and saying, this will be what your policy is, or we'll make sure that you never fucking get another vote again. How would you like another repeat of fucking 2016? That's what they did. And that's what they're doing now. Nobody is fucking safe. So if Trump gets rid of Section 203, I think C, which is the provision of the Communications Act that protects YouTube from being liable for the content on their site while simultaneously being a publisher somehow, which is a violation of that section, which allows them to curate content and censor people. What it'll do is it'll basically turn the internet into a weird fucking hellscape for a while, but afterwards we'll be able to negotiate a better deal for a better internet that has less fucking restrictions, because the first thing that needs to go is the thing that gives them a get out of jail free pass. And then once that's gone, they'll curate their content and people will have to go somewhere the fuck else. And they'll want the government to fucking say, we need a new section, a new clause to this that makes sense that they can't use to skirt around fucking censoring people, which is the general idea. It's better than
why don't we talk about some big atheist YouTubers? Because I know there's some atheist liberals out there and they need to hear about this. What kind of danger is somebody like Thunderfoot in if he were to decide that he wanted to make a video about the coronavirus, about whether it's good or bad or whatever the case is? And also, let's bring another guy, a guy that you know well and shit that you've talked about in the past. What would they do to a big time atheist who has issue with feminists and SJWs and is very opinionated, such as the Amazing Anus? What would they do to him?
Well, this is actually currently happening to somebody who's kind of similar, Thunderfoot. Thunderfoot did a video debunking a coronavirus myth, and his videos kept getting taken down. He got strikes on his channel. He spent months. I think he won his appeal, but literally, this is happening to people all over the fucking place. And atheists have already been struck with this stuff because they're very pro science and then pro, mask and fucking grandma and everything else. So they're very opinionated about this thing. People who go out and protest um, wearing the masks are fucking evil people, the whole thing. But you even mentioning that in a video, me mentioning it in a video on my channel right now, could have my whole fucking channel taken down for coronavirus disinformation, which is whatever the fuck YouTube says it is. Sometimes it doesn't even line up with the CDC or the World Health Organization. Sometimes it's just whatever they've cherry picked to mean. So, channel go bye-bye. Brett, you
sorry,
muted.
my mic was muted. All right, we can get back into the big tech companies and stuff. A lot of atheists out there, you make your living on YouTube, and you know it. You get a lot of money, and you get to be able to express yourself and say the things you want and hang out with your buddies. If you let Biden and the liberals run, then that means that big tech companies, they're going to control everything, and they can get rid of you anytime they want, and they will not be held accountable for it. You will not be protected under any kind of act. Let's talk about this a little bit because you work in the health department and you also know quite a bit about this. We've got youth unemployment has recently hit the lowest rate in nearly half a century, lowest unemployment rate ever recorded for Americans without a high school diploma. Now, why is this fucking important for? Why is the unemployment rate fixed for Americans without high school diploma so incredible for people?
Not only that, but you see at the end of that, the second to last line that you have highlighted there, vocational education. What that means is more computer technicians, more welders, more automotive experts. Because being an automotive expert now requires you to work on complex electronics that are integrated with the car that have to do with a lot of the EPA measures that the environmental shit, your fumes or whatever, your carbon emissions and shit. All of that, they're all new because of regulatory systems that control that. So that vocational education means that not only is the unemployment level so low, what it means is we have more people working in higher income needed jobs because there's not a lot of people that want to work in HVAC. There's not a whole lot of people that want to work in steel or welding or fucking nurses too. It's a foot in the door for somebody to be an IT specialist, a computer technician, which, for high school students to out of high school be able to have a job or be able to apprentice in a job or temp in a job that will afford them more money than if they had just went, like, for example, to college and put themselves in debt and then get their degree. And then maybe the job is there depending on who the fucking president is in 4 years when they finish their education, because that's how long it takes usually for a bachelor's, at least, if I'm not mistaken. Instead of doing that and putting yourself in thousands of dollars of debt, what you do is you start with an education. And if you want to go to fucking college, you will have a job that will allow you to afford going to college without putting yourself in thousands of dollars of debt unnecessarily, which is extremely important. And the federal government has been giving away many dollars worth of into many grants to give kids this education. So
we've talked, Will, about the whole how social media and the internet would affect atheists out there, which is an important part of their life, but we haven't talked about how their life would physically go down the drain physically and in reality without the internet. What would happen if Biden and the Democrats got in? Let me give you guys an example. If Biden gets in, he's already pointed out he wants to go full fucking lockdown. This means that unless you're an essential worker, you are going to get put out of the job. You are not going to be able to take care of the mommy that you're trying to take care of in the household and shit, or your wife and girlfriend. You will have no fucking job. And on top of that, they raise your taxes. How the fuck are you going to pay that? Then they're going to open the borders and let a ton of illegals in, and you're going to have to somehow pay for them. Stimulus money will go to them, but not your family in order to pay for your fucking eviction and the groceries you will never have. You will be one of these assholes who find yourself on the streets of California with fucking needles surrounding you and dog shit. Will, can you tell them a little bit more about what they win? What's behind prize door number 3?
So if you vote for Joe Biden, he'll lock down. He's already said he's gonna fucking lock down everything. On top of him basically trying to skirt around the idea, although Kamala Harris didn't, of packing the courts, which is an idea that even Ruth Bader Ginsburg said was fundamentally wrong. Lyndon B. Johnson was wrong. Hashtag. Joe Biden even said it. Joe Biden said that fucking 30 years ago not to pack the courts, and now he's basically saying he's going to do it. So adding Washington D.C. and Puerto Rico. Listen, Puerto Ricans don't want to be Americans. They want to be Puerto Ricans. They don't want statehood. But that's exactly what they're going to fucking get, whether they like it or not, if Joe Biden is president. Do you like all these people that bang the drum every day about fucking Western imperialism? What do you think is going to happen when they incorporate all these fucking Guam and fucking all these other fucking territories that we own that are more or less autonomous at the moment? They're going bye-bye. They're going to be part of the United States, whether they like it or not. Is that fair? Are we going to have another Hawaii situation where, we set up a military base and then we use statehood as a justification for everything going forward? We get bombed and then we say, well, you're a state now. And they're just like, well, we're a tiny island nation and you got all the planes and shit and you own all the major shipping lanes basically with your naval defense of shipping lanes. So I guess we're America now. Do you want Puerto Rico to be a strategic military base in perpetuity like Hawaii was for so long? Do you want a bunch of racial minorities that currently own their own shit, more or less, being told what to do all the time by the American government?
Will, I got to ask you something. I've been looking over here at all these different accomplishments and pages, and it's fucking overwhelming. It's like looking at a Trump rally. It just goes on as far as the eye can see. So what do you say we deal with the 2018 bullshit, some more of this, and then if you want to, we can do a volume 2, volume 3. It depends on what kind of fucking mood you're in. What do you say? We do this for a little bit longer, and then we'll
go down the definition of fascist tomorrow. You want to preempt that by just going down the same list and proving that he's not?
Well, sure. I mean, we've got we need to point this out to people who are going to be watching this on all the different video channels I'm going to be putting this on. Ronnie has this thing where he likes to call people fascist. As most people know, liberals think that all of America is racist and they think there should be reparations and all kinds of shit. And it seems like there's a big thing going on, and I think this is important to talk about. Apparently, it's okay to be racist towards white people now. It's okay to fucking push this hatred out there, which is causing a lot of what we call racial divisiveness, I believe is what it is. Not diversity, divisiveness. How is that dangerous for you, Will?
Well, what specifically? I mean,
well, you live in fucking New York, man.
I do.
If the journalists and the Democrats keep on fucking pushing that shit, and you happen to be walking down the street and some blacks just got done watching CNN and Don Lemon is feeding their fucking head full of bullshit, what happens to you? You're as white as fucking can be. You're the same color as me. We're as pale as the fucking beach is known. What the hell would we do?
Well, I mean, I had an interesting experience growing up like this. I live in the very white, very MAGA part of New York State. If you look at the maps, basically all of New York State is red except for the fucking city. Like Syracuse and New York City make up pretty much all of the fucking Democrats in the state, you'd be hard pressed to find one Biden sign on a lawn around here if you look for it. And there's not a lot of ethnic minority. Well, that's not true. There are ethnic minorities, but they're all Native Americans. But there's no black people. I'm just gonna say it point blank. There's really not a single black person. And when I was in elementary school, I remember meeting my first black person. Like, oh, this is a novelty, right? And I knew what a black person was. I just never seen a black person in real life as a 4.5-year-old, almost 5-year-old kid. And we kind of like made friends, and later on in life we talked about it, like why didn't we approach each other before? And he basically said, well, my mom said that all white people are racist. And I told him, well, my mom said that all black people think we're racist. I mean, that's a problem. That's a problem that still exists today. It's as fundamental as your belief that and by your I mean Knox belief that most white people are fucking racist. So that both of those things are prevalent issues, and it's going to get somebody fucking killed if you keep pushing that narrative. And it has already. It's caused during the Ferguson riots, people pulling people out of cars. The video went something like this. It says, yo, shit, they beating up every white person. Yo, look at him, he white, beat his shit. And they started beating the shit out of fucking white people. I mean, that's bigotry. And to call it anything else is, he's white, so it's justified, which I'm not claiming that you said that you have said that. What I'm saying is more or less the perpetuation of these ideas by ignoring the alternative is causing an issue. The fact that a lot of black people think that all white people are racist is causing
I know
hostility.
I know damn well they don't. There's a massive amount of the black community. One of my favorite females to watch on YouTube is Candace Owens. I don't know if you ever watch her. She's beautiful, she's brilliant, and there's a massive amount of supporters out there that are black, Latino, women, and people of all different kind of heritages and genders and such like that. But let's talk a little bit about this whole defund cops thing. I literally watched a ton of videos, where black people were asking their neighborhoods, even up in Harlem and everything, they were asked, what do you think about defunding the cops? And they said, fuck that. There's already enough crimes as it is. There's no cops. What's stopping, us from fucking killing each other down here and cracking each other over the fucking skull with a brick, which we have seen numerous times happen on video. Is it good for them? Is Black Lives Matter and the Democrat agenda actually good for the black community? How do you see it?
It was a cute slogan for a while, until people took it to the point where they sort of made it their whole identity. They say, well, Black Lives Matter does not mean Black Lives Matter to the exclusion of all other lives. Okay, great. But people who are saying that they are part of Black Lives Matter, as in they are with a group called Black Lives Matter, or an organization like the one that gives money to Act Blue that funds Democrats, for example. The people who claim to be with an organization called Black Lives Matter bastardize everything that the term Black Lives Matter stood for. And what they end up doing is they end up making it look like, to the uninitiated and uneducated, that black people are wild animals that can't control themselves, that want to kill white people, that are, they basically are helping prop up a stereotype that normal, rational black people are trying to get away from, that people like the Democrats, historically speaking, have not allowed them to get away from, like, the destruction of the family, the abortion. By the way, Planned Parenthood was established by a woman who wanted to basically extinguish the black race. And I don't give a shit what you say it is now. If you said, well, neo-Nazis don't do that anymore. They don't want to kill Jews. They were just founded by a guy who really wanted to kill Jews. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what you say. They still want to break up the black family specifically because they're a large minority group that they know that if they keep them impoverished and they keep them dumb and they keep promising them shit that they'll never get, they'll keep them voted. They'll keep them voting forever. I forget what president it was. I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson, to be honest with you. He said, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for 100 years.
I actually posted this yesterday. It's ironic. It's like great minds think alike. I'm like, oh, fuck, you're a genius, Gump. So I got to put this shit up here. Any of this look familiar?
No.
Let's go with that. What does that say?
Oh yeah, Margaret Sanger. That's the one. I can't really read it. Hold on, let me get close to the fucking screen.
Here, let me put up something a little bit easier for you there.
Margaret Sanger. Colored people are like human weeds and need to be exterminated. Yep, there it is. I admire Margaret Sanger enormously, says Hillary fucking Clinton. Of course you do. You're a fucking murderer.
Look at that. What's that?
Sanger's playing Parenthood kills even more blacks than she and the KKK envisioned. And there she is with the Ku Klux Klan. There she is with the fucking Grand Dragon sitting there. Fucking. These people are fucking. Oh, wait. Who changed their name to Hey Brenda? Oh, I think it's P. Mars. Is this P. Mars?
Can you read this one last thing and then I'll put something else up on the screen?
Yeah.
Oh, it is P. Mars. Okay, good. BLM supporters have now killed more blacks in a month than the police have in 35 years. Had enough yet.
I was just gonna say the thing you said about the family. That's true. It's not it's not just blacks though. It was more effective on black families, but they're doing it to all races. The government views the family unit as a threat to its power. Because the family is like a tribe that will stand up for each other against tyranny, and they want us like alone and isolated. So,
right.
like,
And the other thing that they really want us to do, these globalist elite cocksuckers, these deep state fuckheads, what they really want us to do is to have arguments and fight each other, because the Civil War means that they have a justification, a legal justification to come in and basically do whatever they want and fucking put us all in chains, more or less.
Well, don't you find it weird though, Will, that they make sure that they put drugs in the neighborhood, they put a gun shop in every fucking corner, and then on top of it an abortion clinic just right down the road?
Yeah, and what Brett's talking about is that these Democrat organizations funnel funds through different other organizations, because that's how they wash their money. And what they'll do is they'll give out a loan to somebody who wants to put a gun store up, and they'll say, we'll give you a loan, but we got an idea for a location. That's what they do. They do it on purpose.
And look what happens. These babies are lucky to even be able to be born. And if they are born, they get to walk into their kindergarten with drug pushers right there by the fucking fence of the playground. And if they manage to get through that, they might, while they're playing in their backyard, get shot by some fucking idiot that bought a gun down the street.
That's what black leaders were saying about crack cocaine in the 80s, that it was they pushed it on black people to basically get people addicted and break up the family. Of course.
And what happens when you open the borders? What happens to the poor neighborhoods? Doesn't the drugs get in a lot easier? You get rid of ICE, you get rid of all the fucking protection down there. Then they can come in and out, kidnap kids, also sell drugs into the poor neighborhoods. And sooner or later,
not so much the drugs aren't even the worst problem, to be honest with you, in terms of volume and in terms of moral depravity. The worst thing is, yes, they do traffic children across the border, but the real moneymaker is the easy one to push that doesn't get you fucking killed in prison, usually, is trafficking women straight. So what they did, because they found out that if you get caught trafficking children, the prison is only the beginning, because a lot of inmates look at fucking people who fuck children or trafficking children as the lowest scum, lower than the lowest murderer, lower than or serial killer, lower than your standard run-of-the-mill rapist. These people are the lowest scum. So what they do is they end up getting ass raped until some big fucker comes and shoves a fucking, baseball bat up your ass and sodomizes you to death. A slow, painful death. That's what you get in prison if you traffic children. So what they've decided to do now is they traffic mostly in women because that only puts them slightly above murderers in the prison hierarchy. So that's the worst. So, and again, that was the justification that was made for breaking up children at the border because they were being trafficked, which I think is a good idea because the problem isn't that they're crossing illegally. The biggest problem is that these people are 100% undocumented. No ID, no license, no fucking Blockbuster card, not a library card, not a fucking piece of mail, nothing. They don't have any documents at all. So we don't know for sure that this kid belongs with this family. I mean, family resemblance is one thing, but you don't fucking know. You have no idea.
Can you give me an example of something real quick? I just want to know how this would have went down because you like to do some 4D chess in your head on this shit.
Right.
If the wall had not been put up, if Trump was not so stubborn about it, and the coronavirus was released in the United States with no ICE, no police, just open for anybody to come in, with the lockdowns and everything, what would have happened to the humanity in America with all that coming in with the coronavirus?
We still would have been deporting people. So what would happen is that some people may, it would have been much more difficult to corral people to their individual countries of origin, for one. And then second of all, ICE would still be doing its job deporting people, right? So they would come over, let's say an uninfected Mexican, for the sake of example, come over here to the United States illegally, and he gets caught and he gets coronavirus from one of the ICE the fucking border patrol people, right? Because he doesn't know that he's infected because at the moment he's asymptomatic. So he's going to give the ICE border patrol guy is going to give a Mexican who was previously uninfected coronavirus. They're going to send him back to Mexico and infect Mexico, or vice versa. It's not good. It's not good for these Hispanic countries. That's not good in terms of coronavirus for us. It's good for nobody. I mean, obviously, when we were building the border, we were more concerned about human trafficking and drugs. And to a lesser extent, I guess, taking people's jobs, which is the least of my concerns when you consider human trafficking. I mean, human trafficking is probably the worst fucking thing, worse than drugs, because a druggie can go to rehab. When you sell a woman into sex slavery, right? That is a human being that then has to live with that experience forever, for the rest of her life. And she'll probably be killed because she's a witness to the crimes that happened to her. So the remainder of her life while she's in the custody of these fucking coyotes is raped and sodomized and beaten and brutalized, and then eventually probably starved to death, and then murdered. Great. How many years do you think that goes on before she's murdered, though? Do you think it's a quick mercy kill? Do you think they give a fuck? Do you think these MS-13 members give a fuck what this woman thinks as long as it's the person is making them money? They don't give a damn. They don't give a fuck. I mean, like, even in states where going back to drugs, even in states where the drug that they're selling is legal, like marijuana, they grow illegally in protected forests, and then they dump the fucking byproducts of all the chemicals they're pumping into the ground to make the shit grow faster to get longevity out of their grow season into the water, and they poison the fucking water supply. And not only that, but your California weed grown by MS-13 members so they can sell it here in fucking New York State. They also traffic in fentanyl. Do you think they give a fuck about cross-contamination? The only reason they started to give a fuck is because some little lily white girl in upstate New York got a bad batch of fucking OG Kush or fucking Purple Haze, and it was laced with fentanyl because they were transporting them in the same vehicles. And she overdosed on fentanyl from smoking a joint, which shouldn't fucking kill you, by the way. And she died. She died, and then people started to care because the shit that happens at the border with the fucking cartels and MS-13 and these gang members affects everyone in this fucking state. You think that all of your weed that's grown legally is actually grown legally? Fuck no. Fuck no, because it's mass produced for pennies on the dollar by fucking drug pushers who do other fucking shady shit. They have because it's called a front. They have a legitimate business in front of the black market that they're propping up with the drugs that aren't legal. It's deep. It's fucking deep. It's more than just they come and took our jobs, which is what they like to say. And to a small extent, they are. They do. And they say, well, it's jobs that most people don't want to do. No, it's because they're fucking okay. For example, in the Central Valley in California, there's Hispanic Americans that were born there, lived there their entire life, and work for fucking minimum wage. And then here comes fucking Jose from Mexico, who puts Juan, he lived here his whole life, born and fucking raised, and Juan gets fucked out of a job because fucking, I don't know, one of these fucking companies that grows shit. Because some big agro company doesn't want to fucking pay legals to do the job. Now Juan's out of a job because Jose took his job. So it's not just white Americans who work at the fucking hardware store like Home Depot. They're taking their jobs. It's fucking Hispanic American people that live here in this fucking country who are now put out of a job by someone who came here illegally and cheated the fucking system. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. And it puts minority Americans further into poverty when you prop that shit up and allow these fucking corporations, by the way, to hire illegals to squeeze out the little guy. Because these multinational companies, they got no fucking alliance to America. They don't give a fuck about America. They give a fuck about money, and that's it. And the expansion of their power and influence wherever possible.
Well, do you think it's possible at all that the liberals and Democrats actually have any mercy and compassion towards the Latinos or the illegals or any of this? Or is it just
fuck? Because
what are they doing it for? Why are they doing this, Will? What is your theory?
The same fucking companies that are hiring illegals to bring down the price of their produce, to bring down the price of of labor and everything else. These same fucking companies are paying the fucking government to look the other way because it's cheap. It doesn't cost a lot for a company to bribe a politician through various methods of laundering money, which isn't fucking legal. But of course, when the people in power are getting paid by these people to look the other way, all of them, there's not a single one that isn't getting paid off or bribed by one of these corporations.
But there's another thing too, Will, besides just the money the businesses make and how they screw all the people and how they're able to buy politicians, the politicians themselves are able to do what? How can it benefit them besides just money? Keep them in power, votes.
Well, they could buy votes, I guess, but the majority of what they do is propaganda. Again, it's a one hand washes the other situation. So here's how it goes. I'm a big company. I'm in the agricultural market. Let's say I sell oranges. All right.
Hold on real quick, Will. Did you hear about Democrats? What's this guy's name? What was his name? Was it Mike, the billionaire? Mr. Limburg or whatever the hell his name was. He actually
Bloomberg.
Yeah, he actually got in trouble. He may be going to court for fucking fraud, voting fraud or something like that, because he was paying for criminals and shit as long as they voted Democrat. Did you see that?
Yeah, paying for votes is mostly. So what I'm getting at here is most of how they rig things is they funnel money through joint venture capitalist firms like I hate to say it, the Bilderberg Group and things like that, and they funnel it through special interest groups, through political action groups. They funnel all of their money to make it look legit, and it goes back to them, and then they give money to other corporations, which then push out propaganda, and most of them being based in Silicon Valley and internet and media and stuff like that, and they get paid to push a narrative, whatever the fucking thing is. So I'm a corporation, I'll help you keep in power, and you perpetuate my existence and allow me to get away with the things I do, and it just goes back and forth, back and forth. They wash each other's balls, and the corporations don't really need politicians anymore, and the politicians know that. This is why they're so eager to bend over backwards, because they're getting a deal, because they don't really need politicians to take over this fucking country. All they need to do is start shutting shit down. You know, some company like fucking Viacom, or who owns like fucking Warner Media Group, who owns Time Warner, which is now fucking Spectrum, and a million other companies that are made to look like different companies that actually aren't. Shut the internet down. Yeah, we don't feel like providing internet anymore. Oh, there it goes. There's everything. No
so
ISP.
Will, as you know, I mean, we could go into the businesses all day and shit like that. I'm trying to keep it on the low and everything, just hitting the 2018 deals, and you're doing great, Will. I think you made excellent fucking points. Now, has Ronnie ever claimed to be of military, ever been in the military or anything like that?
No, I think his father might have been, but he wasn't. I might be mistaken on that.
You remember the last time we were talking to Ronnie, one of the things we brought up to him is that Trump wants to bring the soldiers home. And Ronnie's big thing is, well, when's this going to happen? When's this going to be happening? And remember, Obama said long ago he's going to bring soldiers home, and he ends up putting 30,000 more out there. But
right.
Besides that, Trump signed a VA Choice Act. Can you read that and tell us what you, being that you work in the health area, what that means?
VA Choice Act. I'll read it here. Signed a VA Choice Act and VA Accountability Act, expanded VA telehealth services, walk-in clinics, and same-day urgent primary care and mental health care. So what that is, now I don't work with the VA directly, but my father-in-law, who passed away this past February, God rest his soul, he was he had to go to the VA for a lot because he had terminal cancer, and him dealing with the VA was very cordial, according to him, in comparison to other years. A lot of his expenses were covered by the VA because of these changes that Trump had made to the VA. Because the VA, for as long as the VA has existed, has been a nightmare. It was never easy to get anything done. Very hard to get your veteran benefits. I think, if I remember correctly, issues with 50C3s, something like that. So, and Lowe will break my balls later if I'm wrong about all this, but yeah. So the VA needed some fucking work, and at least me in my personal life, it seems like it's done some good. But again, it means that veterans who need the like, if you have PTSD, what it means is for PTSD, there's not a lot of stuff out there right now. They're trying things with LSD, for example, microdosing LSD with psychotherapy. They're saying might help. But before this come about, after Trump got elected, you weren't allowed to try psychotropic drugs like, or not psychotropic, but psychedelic drugs like LSD if it had a therapeutic benefit for your PTSD. Even if you tried everything else, even if you were a danger to yourself and others, they wouldn't allow you to have it. They wouldn't allow you to experiment with it to see if it had any other uses other than obviously getting you high. So Now they can do that.
We had problems in the past with the whole VA and soldiers coming home from a war, and they didn't have jobs because people didn't want to hire someone that may be fucked up or been in the middle of that. That's a completely different level than what average people are capable of dealing with. And they had to go through a bunch of sign up bullshit, a bunch of crap that held them back from getting the health care they required. Now a soldier can go anywhere they want and it'll get fucking taken care of. Yeah. And now, because of all the jobs and the employment opportunities that Trump has given, a soldier isn't going to have to worry because he's got a variety of fucking different employment opportunities for him. As opposed to these poor bastards end up going into the parking lot of a VA and waiting hours and hours and then deciding to plug themselves with a fucking gun in the parking lot. So there it is. I mean, right there, that's total love for the soldiers and what they go through. All right, just a little bit more, and then we can do a volume 2 sometime this week or next week if you want. Yeah, I think we better do something because the election is coming up, and some people, they just don't have the ability to fucking read and do a little bit of research. How sad, right? Okay, yeah. So. All right, so we moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. We withdrew the horrible one-sided Iran deal where Obama was sending billions of dollars to them. Why were we doing that? Didn't they just fucking buy bombs and kill each other with them? Yeah. Why did we send $1 billion to these fucking people for? I don't know. I don't understand. Okay, process has begun to make Space Force a sixth branch of the armed forces. I don't know if you remember, but the first year Trump was in office, he signed some kind of deal with NASA. I believe we're going to fucking Mars or something, right?
Right. Right.
Now, what are the different kind of things for those out there who laugh at the fucking name Space Force? If we were to build bases out in space, what would we be able to do for ourselves in case some kind of danger, unseen danger happens from space?
Space Force is actually kind of complicated. Having moon bases and getting off world is important for a number of reasons. Now, if you're somebody who thinks that global warming is going to decimate this planet in 13 years, you're probably going to want to get off it as quickly as possible. You know, I don't know about going to Mars. It seems like Mars would probably be worse than even global warming Earth. But you know, whatever, save your own skin, go live in a colony. But that's not primarily what we're doing up there. What we're doing there is anti-satellite shit. The internet, I don't know if you know this, runs on a lot of fucking satellites. And what they do is they have, it's not hard. They don't shoot a rocket into space. What it is mostly is America puts up a satellite in space, right? And it could be for anything. It could be telemetry. It could be NOAA. It could be a lot of things, right? But let's say a foreign entity like the Chinese or the Russians want to take that satellite down to disrupt communications in the United States, right? What they do is they send a little fucking...
Will you keep talking? I'm going to go have me a smoke real quick. You're doing great, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
So what they do is they send a fucking little rocket in outer space, and it floats and changes its fucking trajectory so that meets itself on a course with the fucking satellite. And it's a little robot that just, its whole job is to float around and disassemble a satellite in outer space. And then it's going to take time for like the United States to get a guy out there, even from the ISS, to go out there and fix this fucking satellite. And sometimes they're because they've been the propulsion system has been separated from the solar arrays on these satellites. Sometimes they're completely irreparable. There's nothing you can do about it once they're separated. So our job in Space Force then is basically counter anti-satellite technology. It's not a lot of glitz and glamour with, you know, fuck it, we're gonna build a Death Star and this time it'll work. It's not Star Wars like Ronnie Reagan Star Wars type shit. Space lasers. It's right now it's not scalable and not feasible. So the majority of what Space Force does or will do once they're officially, up and operational and doing something other than having an official title is going to be that. But then from there on, we're going to put bases on the moon and on Mars. The moon is basically like, can we put a base on an extraterrestrial body within our solar system? And the first closest thing is the moon, and then that'll help us figure out some of the logistics of scalability. And then the next thing that we'd like to do is terraform portions of Mars, sort of an intergalactic greenhouse experiment. The Martian's not that far off. It's not exactly the same, but the nitrogen-rich atmosphere, the soil, the phosphate, the whole thing, and the fact that they might have found water underneath the surface of Mars and things of this nature, and basically to create an artificial atmosphere around Mars to help make it habitable. Why is this good? Because when and if we figure out the next logical step, if you're going to try to get off this planet and out of our solar system anywhere else in the galaxy, once we figure that out, we have to have a method by which to terraform planets that aren't that would otherwise not be hospitable to human life, because we don't know how far we're going to go outside of our solar system. There's sort of like an idea like we send an ark out sort of thing, where people will live on it for generations and they'll just hop from nearest planet to nearest planet. There's a lot of reasons, but the basic idea now is satellites, moon base, Mars, Europa, and then hopefully our first humans to travel outside of our solar system and back in our lifetime, maybe. Although I think it'll take like 50. I think it takes like 50 years or 80 years or some nonsense for somebody to travel outside of our solar system just to the edge and then back. I don't know. I'd have to Google it, to be honest with you. But that's the idea. It's more than NASA's fucking done. As we all know, NASA was set up by Nazis, ex-Nazis, whatever, same thing. How long to travel to, we'll just say Pluto, and kind of adjust because Pluto's. All right, so it would take about 10 years. So it's 10 years one way. So be in space for 20 years. Maybe we can get, because that's the idea. See, as you go, how far from Europa to Pluto, for example, you just have way stations in between because it takes so much fucking time to get. It's hard to have a shuttle that is livable for 20 years. 20 years worth of fucking food and water and basically recycling your own shit and potatoes like the Martian. Yeah, it's not really that feasible. Now, at this point, we're not capable of doing all that, but if there's anything that war has shown us is that the military industrial complex can invent shit like a motherfucker when there's an invested interest in terms of war. And other fucking countries are going to race us to Mars. It's going to be another space race. And it's going to be like it was with the moon. Except for, this time we're actually going to fucking go somewhere and stay there, hopefully, at some point. All right. Here we go.
I am back. How you doing there, Will? I gotta say, it's I know that we usually like to do funny stuff, enjoy ourselves, and everything like that. But when it comes to political talk, you are quite focused. You have a damn fine memory and scan of how these things are going down. I'm surprised all the time that you have spent with Ronnie, he hasn't already become a Trump supporter months before I even returned to fucking YouTube with the kind of knowledge that you have in your head. Here we go. We got some more.
Okay, impose tariffs on foreign steel and aluminum to protect national security. Yeah, because we shouldn't be dependent on foreign entities like China for all of our fucking resources when we have perfectly good American steel and aluminum here. And I hate to put my tinfoil hat on, but the Chinese do sell us back hydrofluoric acid is fluoride in our tap water, which is good for basically fucking nothing. And we're getting fucked there too. I mean, if we're gonna put fluoride in the water, it should be at least American fluoride. I know that sounds like the most redneck thing you've ever heard, but at any rate, post tariffs on China in response to China's forced technology transfer, intellectual property theft, and chronically abusive trade practices. Yeah, because they're a currency manipulator. They fuck with the market because they can't stand on their own two legs, even though they fucking steal everything. You know, that like Project Dragonfly with Google. Google had to develop they didn't have to, but they did. They developed a censored version of Google for China, for the Chinese government and the Chinese people, but to the benefit of the Chinese government, right? So they do Project Dragonfly, and the United States government goes to Google. Okay, so you're not willing to cooperate as a private entity in the United States with the United States government, but you're willing to sell all of your secrets to China. And your justification is, well, if we don't sell it to them, they'll steal it. Well, you don't think the United States government has a vested interest in keeping them from being able to do that so that we have exclusive rights to Google's technology when and if they develop it? I mean, that just seems pretty fucking basic, but maybe I'm kind of goofy like that. What am I? Oh, yeah, the border fence, whatever. Wall, fence. You're muted.
Yeah, I was letting you finish what you were saying there. So as we can see, ladies and gentlemen, the Trump has built literally fucking just tons and tons of miles
350
of wall.
miles.
There is a lot that needs to be done, but as we know, Will, as rational, logical people realize, it's not something that can get done in fucking 5 minutes. But he has gotten a massive amount, and if he gets another term, he's going to be able to fucking do this whole deal.
Well, they say, ha, you didn't get the wall. You got a fence. It's not because we couldn't afford. It's because that's what I said they needed. They need to be able to see through the fucking thing. A border thing, some sort of object that obstructs people from just simply walking across it. So now they got to walk all the way down it. See, it's not finished there in that one section on the top left. Yeah. They're like, well, we'll walk around it. Well, they'll dig under it. Well, they'll catapult. And it's like, yeah, but it's the idea is that you can't actually, because again, most people who are here illegally overstayed visas. Yes, we understand that. But that is not primarily how human traffickers and drug traffickers get their shit into this country. It's not an overstayed visa. Some drug dealer didn't smuggle, some drug dealer didn't smuggle heroin up his ass and overstay his visa. That's not how it happens. It's at the border is where all the worst shit goes down.
So anybody out there that watches the video, go ahead and throw out all the complaints that you've ever had about Donald Trump, and we will be more than happy to answer and respond to it. I guess we could deal with one last topic. We've dealt with some of his accomplishments. Let's deal with one of the big things that Trump has had to deal with. Chris Wallace brought this up in the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. He said, will you disavow the Proud Boys? First of all, the Proud Boys are not some militia group who's out there trying to crack fucking heads. They're actually a patriotic group, and they are not white supremacists. They actually have a black Cuban guy as one of their leaders. They have Latinos. They have people of all different creeds who are with them, and they are actually patriots. A lot of soldiers who went out into the wars and shit and fought for our country. To call them white supremacists and put them in that kind of thing is bullshit. And the Proud Boys, besides going out and stopping agitators, they have sued countless organizations and news reporters for fucking slandering them. And right now, they actually are going to sue Joe Biden as well as Chris Wallace and some other journalists for the bullshit they pulled. So, what do you think when they say white supremacists? Let's define that for people out there. It's whenever a group of people think our race thinks they're more superior than another race. Well, guess what? The fucking Chinese think they're better than us. There's Indians out there that think they're better than fucking whites. There's blacks out there who call themselves the king of the jungle and shit on their fucking hip hop records. Everybody thinks they're better than everybody. That's the way it is. When it becomes a problem is when you start going out in the street and committing violence or killing people. If you want to have a fucking dumb opinion and narcissism about yourself, then so be it. Most atheists think they're better than religious people. Am I right? And of course, religious people think they're going to fucking burn in hell.
Right.
So everybody's got stupid thoughts and shit. But unless you're out there fucking somebody up, you don't deserve to have consequences for having a fucked up brain.
Right. Well, here's the thing. There have been cases that the Proud Boys have lost in court about violence, right? But here's the dichotomy. The same people that say the Proud Boys are a white supremacist violent group and not just a boys club for Western male chauvinists like they self-describe. The same people say that Antifa and Black Lives Matter are not organizations and that they're abstract concepts, and some people call themselves that and do horrible things. So literally that is what the Proud Boys are. So they're either an organization or they're not. But whatever the case is, nobody should be fucking doing anything to anyone at all. Because I know that in the Central Valley in California, the Proud Boys have done some fucking shit. They've instigated some things, but it's not the whole organization. So if you're going to give credit to the same kind of allowances to Antifa and Black Lives Matter, it can't be logically consistent and not give the same credit, the same benefit of the doubt to the Proud Boys. I don't even fucking give a shit about the Proud Boys. That's the other thing, is that why are you making me defend the Proud Boys over your cognitive dissonance? Anyway, so that's that.
All right, I guess we'll finish with this shit right here. Trump condemns racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Obviously, mainstream media has refused to report and show videos of them doing this. But one thing that'll shock a lot of you is Chris Wallace, the same guy who was in the debate in 2016. He asked the same fucking dumb question to Donald Trump. He said, "Do you disavow racism?" And Trump specifically said, "I denounce all forms of violence, destruction, whatever, blah, blah, blah." And he actually mentioned neo-Nazis, KKK. I believe it was neo-Nazis, wasn't it, Will?
Yes.
But he actually specifically went down the fucking line, and he did this. And on Twitter, he's done it over, from what my last estimate is, over 18 to 20 fucking times he's done it. It's just that the mainstream media wants to hold this idea that he's racist so they can keep black people pissed and hope that they're going to get votes out of it.
Yeah, that's basically it. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up this. This is a myth that's perpetuated by people on the left, that Trump said that they were perfectly that I'm trying to find that he said. He said, let's see. He said, I'm trying to find the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, "Not the neo-Nazis. I condemn they should be condemned completely." But he was just talking about, this is in reference to the Charlottesville riots.
The fine people bullshit.
Yeah, that they keep trotting out. I'm trying to find the full quote, but every fucking place on the planet.
Well, if you use DuckDuckGo or a different search engine, you'll be able to find like the shit that you're looking for that actually fights for Trump. You use Google, like what I just did, and you're going to, unfortunately, they make sure they put all the lies and negativity right up top. That's what liberals do.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. There's only a couple results here. I'm out 2 of 5. It should be here. Nope, that's not it. It's the same Y. They didn't put themselves, and you had some very fine people on.
While Will is looking that up, I'm going to say this to folks out there. Even if you fucking hate Trump and for some oddball reason you think you like a dementia patient such as Joe Biden to be in office, you're not going to get Joe Biden even if he wins. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what the fuck do you mean? Joe Biden wins. He's the president. No, he's a weekend at Bernie's prop up. As soon as he gets in there, Nancy Pelosi is going to use that 25th Amendment, I think, in order to cause it to look like he's got cognitive problems, which he fucking does. They'll put him out of office, and then Kamala Harris, who nobody fucking likes on any side, will become your president. And then she's going to pick some fucking loser to be the VP. And they will be nothing but puppets doing whatever it takes for money and promotions and whatever it takes. They will just be rich politicians that will put a lot of black people away in jail and throw a lot of Latinos away too. She did it whenever she was doing what she did before. Do you find what you were looking for, Will, or do I got to babble on incoherently some more?
No, I think I found it. Excuse me. They didn't put themselves. And you had some very fine people. And you had some very bad people in that group, and you also had some very fine people on both sides. And this was in reference to the left, because the statement that precedes it directly is a reference to the left by naming them. You had people in that group. I saw the same pictures as you did. Damn, I can't find it. This is him talking about him saying the thing. I fucking hate mainstream media.
Well, it's the same thing that the Democrats do nowadays, right? Whenever there's a peaceful protest and then some idiots come along and start a riot, what will the Democrats say? They will say, oh, yeah, there's some people over here who started some trouble, but some people over here were fine people who weren't doing anything wrong. They were just chilling and doing their protest.
In the original quote, what he had said was that the white supremacists should be condemned completely, but they were very fine, some people, very fine people on both sides. That is the full quote. And he's talking about just people that were there to peacefully demonstrate. That's what it was in reference to. And there's a fucking video clip of it on the internet, but I'll be at the bus stop in 40 minutes. Shit, I got to get going.
All right, so let's get this shut down. This is Brett Keene, the boogeyman of the internet. I use BitChute, BitTube, all kinds of different video sites. Just look in the link in the description if you'd like to buy me some coffee. Or buy me a good a manatee mat and shit, because the old one's all worn out to lay on. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even lay down anymore. I'm sitting in a fucking chair. I've got a numb ass right now from just literally sitting here.
Same. John is mad at me now. Send your death threats to the Kink Media. That's KINC media @gmail.com. I'll be happy to ignore them forever. All right. Thanks for watching. You have yourself a fun day now.